Welcome to Train Signal. My name is Zach Monroe, and today we're going to talk about part 2 of our Certification 101 series, and we're going to take a look at CCNA certification breakdown. And we've got a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Now, basically, with the CCNA, you have a couple different options when it comes to taking the exams to obtain your certification. First option I'm going to talk about is the 2 exam option. Now, what you do here is you've got the first exam, which is the Cisco CCNT, also called the ICND1, and it's the 64822. You take that, you pass it, you move on to the ICND2, and that's called the 64816. And essentially what you've done is obtained your CCNA. Also, when you pass that first exam, you obtain your CCNT certification. So you have a CCNT and a CCNA, even though the CCNT is part of the CCNA. That's a little bit confusing, but basically you have both certifications. Now, why would anybody take 2 exams if they had the option to take one? Well, I'm going to tell you. I recommend the 2 exam option if you're someone that's new to networking. If you need to work on the basics of networking, I definitely recommend going with 2 exams because you can focus on the basics on the first exam, the ICND1. Then you can move on to the more advanced topics that you're going to find on the ICND2. So you can kind of focus your energy on that and build on the basics that you've learned for the first exam. Whereas if we move down to the 1 exam option, it's going to cover everything from the basics to the advanced topics in CCNA. And this CCNA exam is the 64802. It's 1 exam, you pass it, you get your CCNA, but it covers everything. Now, one other question that you may ask is, well, if I take the 64802, do I get a CCNT certification? No, you don't. So, is it better to take the 2 exam option, get a CCNT and a CCNA? Well, I'm here to tell you no. Okay, either way is fine. If you don't obtain your CCNT certification by doing the 2 exams, that's no problem. And you can see there, no CCNT, no problem. Basically, any employer, customer, anybody that would be interested, all they want to know is that you did obtain the CCNA. The CCNT really is secondary to that. I mean, it's going to be something you're going to be able to put down, but anybody that knows about it is going to know, look, you obtained your CCNA, and that's all that matters. Now, going back to the 1 exam option here, just the 64802. This is something I would consider if you're a little bit more experienced in networking. Maybe you've worked with Cisco routers a little bit and you just haven't been certified. Because this is something where you probably know the basics and you're able to focus on more advanced topics, and the basics aren't going to trip you up in this 1 exam. So that's kind of the difference between the 2 exams, and those are my recommendations for which option you should take based on your experience. I want to move on to the next point here. Experience has a lot to do with it. If you have no experience, then you're going to need to study. And even if you do have some experience, you're going to need to study for the CCNA exam because there's just too much information, too much terminology that you probably don't use on a daily basis, even if you are working with Cisco routers and a Cisco network. And that's why I recommend going with Train Signal's CCNT course, ICND2 course, or CCNA course. We've broken it up into 3 courses, and as you can see here, and I just want to go out to the website real quick, and you can see that's the link to our CCNA page, and this is our CCNA course, and it's for our 64802 exam. You're going to get a transcender practice exam with that, and you're going to get all these high-res AVI files, iPod files, and PDF instructor's notes. And if you want to take a look here, say you're not sure if you want to focus on the CCNA and you want to do the 2 exam option, you're going to get the CCNT and the ICND2 courses in the CCNA package, but maybe you just want to focus on the CCNT. You can get that on its own. Maybe you already have your CCNT and you want to get to the ICND2, but obviously it covers more advanced topics and you want to do some studying with that, you can get the ICND2 on its own as well. So I just want to point that out and recommend Train Signal as the best study option for you out there. So once you get done, you can copy this link, take a look at the link, and take a look at the course offering out there and make the decision for yourself. Now moving on to the details of this exam, and this is all information you can get on the Cisco website, cisco.com, but I wanted to put this in here to point some things out. Now the CCNA exam, the 64802, that's just the one exam. You're looking at between 50 and 60 questions, and you're gonna have 90 minutes to complete it. Now for the ICND1, same situation, 50 to 60 questions, 90 minutes to complete it. Now the ICND2, 45 to 55 questions, 75 minutes to complete it. And the reason I want to point this out is you take a look here, and if we go back and you actually take a look at the Train Signal website, the CCNA course has over 29 hours of course material on it. That's a lot of information, and that course is based directly off the exam objectives from Cisco, okay, for the CCNA exam. So that's a ton of information, and you're looking at 50 to 60 questions. Well, what's that tell you? Well, they're taking a very small sample of a lot of information. So my suggestion to you is be over prepared for these exams. Even if you're focusing on doing the 2 exams and you're doing the 1 at a time here, be absolutely over prepared for these exams, because they're going to ask you questions that you never thought would be asked if you didn't study for it. If you study and you're over prepared for it, and I know I've said that a couple times here, but it's crucial that if you take one thing out of this, that you take that, because it's a very small sample size of a lot of information, so you want to be able to perform when it comes time to actually take the exam. So that's the reason I put this slide in here. Just wanted to convey that to you. Now here's a big question a lot of people ask. What kind of job can I get with my CCNA? Well, I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of good jobs out there for a CCNA. And one thing I want to point out is, if you've got no experience, no certifications, and you just go and get your CCNA, you may have a little bit of a hard time finding a job for a CCNA, because most companies that are hiring somebody for a position are going to say, CCNA required, A+ required, Network Plus, probably not Network Plus if you got CCNA, but you get my meaning. It's going to be more than just the CCNA that's going to be required to get the job. So you're talking about type of positions: entry-level Cisco network admin. I put entry level here because it really is. It's a starting point for a CCNA. But with this network admin, and also Cisco network designer, you're going to actually design the physical network and the logical network. With these, I guarantee you, if a company is advertising for these positions, you're going to need to have an A+, because you're going to need to show that you can work with hardware. You're going to need your CCNA, and you may need to be working towards your CCNP. The CCNA is a great certification, and it is going to open a lot of doors for you at the entry level. But if you really want to do something with that knowledge that you've taken, just realize that the CCNA is a prerequisite to CCNP certification. And I know that gets a little bit out of the bounds of what this video is about, but you do your CCNA and you pass that, you obtain that certification, and your next step is the CCNP certification. There's 4 exams. It's pretty detailed, pretty complicated certification, but it's well worth it. I want to point this out. The average salary for a CCNP, according to About.com, this year, $84,161. That's a fantastic salary, and it comes from, you get your CCNA, and you use that as a stepping stone to get your CCNP and move into a position like this. And again, I just want to point out too, you can study for your CCNP at Train Signal as well. And I just want to go there and take a look at that before we finish up. I'm gonna pull this up here, and we're looking at this. Here's our Cisco training. I'll click on that, and I'm gonna pull that down and blow this up a little bit. Here's our Cisco training. This is our Cisco training videos. Like I said, here's the CCNA, CCNT, ICND2. Here is our CCNP training videos. And here's the four courses here. And now here's the CCNP training package. We've actually packaged those together and lowered the price a little bit for you so you can do that. So again, my recommendation to you, work towards that CCNA, get that CCNA, get that job that you've been working for, and go get your CCNP because it's going to pay dividends in the long run. I appreciate you being with me here today. My name's Zach Monroe. This was CCNA certification breakdown from Train Signal. Thanks so much.